beautiful weather conditions here at Tailem Bend for grand final afternoon of the Rotax Pro Tour for season 2018. Set for a start this time, and we're away. Walton around the outside, Woolston on the inside. The world champion leads through turn number 1. Pringle gets himself into second position. Pringle's been out of sorts a little bit throughout the course of the weekend. Gets into the tail of our race leader. Walton, he's there into third spot. Scotty Howard into fourth. So work their way through. The two Victorians lead the way from the two Queenslanders. Now Walton goes for a move up the inside. Can't get it done. Woolston left the door open for Pringle, but he wasn't able to get through either. And now Walton goes through to second spot. Howard goes up into third position and moving their way back around to complete the opening circulation of 18 here in DD2. Ash Seaward's got himself into fifth place with Trevor Whitby right behind him. Down to turn number 1 they go. Woolston leading the way in the world number 1. Cosmic Chassis for CC Racing with technical support from Tom Williamson Motorsport. Chris Walton in second spot. Howard now winding it up in third, shuffling. Pringle back to fourth spot. So the top 3 are the heavy hitters in the category. The racing here since we've gone full dry conditions has been outstanding. Oh no, drama there for... So Woolston or Howard that's had the drama. In fact, it was Howard. So he's dropped back to fourth spot. Back up on the wheel now, though, in front of Ash Seaward as they come back to the start-finish straight. Down to turn number 1 they go. Pringle's the fastest driver on circuit in third. Nothing in it between our top 3 at the moment. It's only early stages. Everyone just feeling each other out. Oh, Walton makes a mistake. Walton leaves it well and truly open. He saves it though. And he's actually built ground after all of that. So the way that Walton was able to rejoin then displaced Troy Woolston. The one who's been the big benefactor out of all of it is the man in fourth there, Scott Howard. So Howard in the Howard's Concreting Birillart is now up behind Jason Pringle and goes up the inside of Pringle and makes the move. And he can start to push his way back toward the front. So Scotty Howard moves his way back to third. Did say he was in a Birillart. I beg your pardon, it's a Cosmic. He made that move at Albury. Had to ship in a chassis overnight after damaging one during the course of practice. And he hasn't looked back since, Scott Howard. Relishing the challenge of the new chassis as they go through the left-hander. Walton leading the way over the number 1 of Troy Woolston, the outgoing world champion. He will not recontest the world championship this year in Brazil. He's been terrific throughout the course of season 2018 after he won that championship in Portugal at the end of last year. Came out and dominated our opening round and has been right there for the whole entire time in this DD2 Masters affair. Chris Walton is looking to stand atop the podium one more time in the Z-Course Comp Kart as they go down through turn number 1. Howard, fastest driver on circuit, in third spot. So he's on the move now, Scotty Howard. He wants to end his season fairly strongly. He is so fired up about coming to this circuit for the first time this weekend. Yesterday was up and down for Howard. Pre-final definitely up and down for him, but now he's looking to make amends here as he sits in third spot and tries to close down. Jason Pringle sitting there in fourth position, won the Dubbo round of the Rotax Pro Tour. Can he have a hand in what goes on here this afternoon? They work their way through the final complex of turns and back to the start-finish straight. Chris Walton leading from Troy Woolston. Woolston will be desperate to walk away with the victory this afternoon. Down into turn number 1 they go. Howard's the fastest driver on circuit, still a 49.634. 0.6 of a second he is off of the race lead established by Chris Walton. Woolston still second, then it's Howard, Pringle in fourth I should say. Then a further 3 seconds back to Ash Seaward, Terry Hanley, Trevor Whitby, then Josh Willett, Ben Lillis and Matthew Hall. Gary Haywood a non-starter as they work their way through. Still everyone feeling each other out. We're not anywhere near the halfway point at this stage of proceedings. Coming around. There were 18 laps on the board to kick things off. This is the end of lap number 6, so there'll be 12 laps left remaining in this one. It's been a terrific final so far. The Bend really showing what it can do when you get plenty of dry laps running. Yesterday, I don't think we had 3 sessions where the weather was consistent. It was just one of the most challenging days that I've ever seen at the kart track. Really had the crew chiefs working overtime as they work their way through the middle part of the circuit. The distinct black lines of the Mojo tyre grip going down on this multi-purpose karting stadium, built with international events in mind. Coming through the Mojo complex. Back towards the start, finish straight. Walton's got the biggest lead that he's had since the start of this race. Woolston still holding a watching brief. Now Pringle all over the tail of Scotty Howard in third spot. Through turn number 1 they go. Pringle fighting it out here. He's all over the tail of Howard. Now Howard pushing up to the rear of the number 1. Walton looks to have the speed at the moment, although that can change at the drop of a hat. Woolston a bit quicker on this particular lap. The gap was 0.342 the last time they came across the line. Now there's some action happening out there. Howard mounting a challenge on Woolston as they come to the front straight away. They're side by side. Oh, we're going to go 3 wide into turn number 1. Pringle pulled out of the slipstream as well. Out of all that, Scotty Howard holds down to the second spot. Woolston goes from second back to 4th. Exciting stuff as they went 3 wide into turn 1. That's allowed Walton to open up his lead to over half a second. Through the right-hander they go. Halfway through this lap, we're at the halfway point of this DD2 Masters final brought to us by Freem Kart Sport. The last race of DD2 Masters of the year. One of the most competitive categories in Australian karting is DD2 Masters. Of course, Australia possesses the last 2 world champions in this category. We'll announce Team Australia tonight and who will be taking over the mantle from Lee Mitchener, who won the World Championship in 2016. Troy Woolston, who won it in 2017. So there is no pressure on the driver that will elect to be part of the Team Australia outfit heading to Brazil at the end of November. Walton, the lead still at half a second over Howard, 0.561 to be precise. Howard a little faster now that he's comfortably in that second position. But Jason Pringle has not stopped. Pushing on, he's sitting there in third spot all over the tail of our second place man as they work their way through the final set of turns. Second, third and fourth, right there. However, whilst they're squabbling, they've got to make sure that Walton doesn't get too far away. 8 laps left to go in this one. It's over 0.6 of a second now from first to second. It was a 49.495 from Walton, a 49.541 from Scott Howard. Woolston is in fact the fastest driver of our top 4 at the moment. It is only by hundredths of a second, however, and he is back there in that 4th position, really trying to push on and start closing in and see if they can do something about mounting a challenge on the Z-Course comp kart for Freem Karting, which is well and truly out in front at the moment. I get the feeling that Jason Pringle is shaping up for a move at some point here. We'll see if he can get a good run on Scott Howard onto the front straightaway, and if the Victorian veteran can have a look down at turn number 1. Across the start-finish line they go. Pringle looks over his shoulder. He sees that Troy Woolston is right there with him, his fellow Go-Kart Club of Victoria member. Through the opening sequence of turns they go. Walton's lead is back to 0.561, so Howard's picked up the pace. Howard, Pringle and Woolston all in the 49.4s, a 49.5 that time through for Chris Walton. So still plenty to play for here. Woolston looks like he's dropped a bit in this opening sector of the lap. Indeed, he's dropped 0.2 of a second in that opening sector. So could the world champion have screamed enough in this one? Through the right-hander they go and back to the start finish straight. There will only be 6 laps left remaining in this DD2 Masters final. Chris Walton, he leads the way. Across the line he goes. Howard in second spot. Pringle just assessing the situation around him as he goes down the front straight away. Out of this beautiful turn number 3. I just love the flow of that section of turns, how it looks. It's delivered some terrific racing in the dry as we now go through the right-hander here. The Ben Cart Stadium, you can see just at the top of your screen there, a piece of the track which would be used for drifting and so on. Of course, this track next weekend will be used for rallycross. I'll put a water splash through the middle of the circuit. Back around they come. Walton, he's been tremendous since getting to the front. He'll round off his season in a strong manner if he can continue on where he is. But Scott Howard's just done the fastest lap of anyone, a 49.233, to keep the race lead of Chris Walton at 0.565. It was a 49.277 from Walton that time through. A 49.352, and Woolston's picked up the pace again with a 49.296. The pace of the race has really settled down. There's equal distant gaps now between our top 4. Further back, Terry Hanley has moved past Ash Seward and is into 5th placing. So Hanley in the comp cart, he is pushing forward as well as they start to come back around. You're watching the DD2 Masters finale for Freem Cartware at Tough As Rotax Pro Tour Grand Final Day at the brand new The Ben Motorsport Park, the first ever karting event at the new karting stadium. Down the front straight away they go into turn number 1. Fastest lap of the race for Troy Woolston now. He's only a second from the race lead. Had a couple of ordinary laps there, did Troy Woolston. With 4 laps to go, are we in for a grandstand finish here? The race lead has been cut to 0.364. So Scott Howard still fancies himself at being able to throw out the challenge to his rival in Chris Walton. The two of them don't necessarily see eye to eye all the time, as Walton's put the foot down now into the mojo turns. Pringle looks like he's picked the pace up a bit. It was the fastest first sector for Pringle. Then he was about a 1/10 of a second quicker than Howard in the second sector. What's he got coming down the front straight away? 3 laps left to go now for our race leader as they cross the line down into turn number 1. New fastest lap of the race for Pringle, a 49.145. It was a 49.183 for Chris Walton, who extended his advantage a little bit. It's out to 0.477 now with 2 3/4 laps left remaining in this one. This has been an outstanding final that Chris Walton has really controlled the pace of as they work their way through the middle part of the race circuit. Howard in second spot, Pringle back there in 3rd position. Then Woolston, I think it's a stretch too far for him at the moment in 4th spot. As they work their way back around, we'll see what it is this time. It was 0.477 from first back to second. Pringle just can't get the cart close enough and in position to try and mount a challenge on our second place man as they cross the line now. 2 laps left to go. Fastest lap of the race with 2 to go for Chris Walton. He's done a 49.063 to open the race lead out to 0.642. So I think Walton's got enough. He's just showing he's had a bit in hand, the cagey character, right throughout the course of the race. He just wanted to create a bit of excitement, I think, did Chris Walton. And he leads by a comfortable margin now over Scott Howard. Can Jason Pringle advance himself past Howard and into second spot here? Through the right-hander at Mojo they go. There's the lead from Walton in the fluoro and white comp cart for Z-Course. In second spot is the Cosmic of Scott Howard. In 3rd placing is the orange and black CRG of Jason Pringle. Last lap boards on display now. The gap's still 0.658 from first back to second. Scott Howard's just done a personal best, a 49.211. Pringle just did the fastest last sector of anyone. Look at Jason Pringle pushing into number 35 there. He is working overtime to get onto racing terms with our second place man, Scott Howard. They're on the last circulation of season 2018 in the Rotax Pro Tour DD2 Masters. Walton holding down to the lead. He stretches the legs. Here comes Pringle up the inside. Pringle goes to the inside. with Howard. Howard shuts the door. Pringle's going to have to try a bit more. Down through the right-hander they go. And look at Woolston. He's in the mix there as well with a corner left remaining. As Walton comes onto the front straightaway to get the checkered flag. Second place is going to go right to the line. Who's it going to be? We have to go to the scoreboard. And Howard gets it. Howard gets it by 5/100ths of a second. Woolston, he comes home in fourth place, I should say, a further 2/10 back. But the order was Walton, Howard, Pringle, Woolston in fourth, Terry Hanley home in fifth spot. In sixth place was Trevor Whitby. Ashley Seward, he comes home in seventh position. Then Ben Lillis crosses the line. Josh Willett crosses the line in front of Ben Lillis after those two had a race-long battle. But boy, oh boy, what a drive from Chris Walton. Sets the fastest lap of the race. Takes the win by 2 seconds in the end. Scotty Howard limps over the line just in front of Jason Pringle. That completes DD2 Masters for season 2018 with thanks to Freem Cartware.